Hello, everybody. I am Joanna Intarazem from JoannaTransformation.com. We are on day 362 out of 366 days to transform fear back into love. We're so finishing up here. It's just amazing, this journey. Been approaching some of the deep, soulful topics this time of year when it's cold outside and freezing and barren, and the trees have lost a lot of their leaves and the fruits are gone of the trees, and frost in my car, and I just feel like staying inside, and it makes me reflect. It's the time of the soul in the Taoist system. This is the time of soul strengthening, and certainly with the topic of dealing with dying and loss the last couple days, I want to also address today's fear, which is how to dissolve the fear of dying alone. Some people have expressed to me when we've been talking about death, I'm really afraid of dying alone. Some people have different fears, fear of losing your partner, or not dying an easy death, or having a lot of pain, or watching your children watch you, die. But in particular, the fear of dying alone. So if you watch yesterday's post, day 361, I spoke about living well so you can die easier. And one of the things that I mentioned was how we live and how we let go as we live is such a huge part of how we die. I think the same is really true today, that how we dissolve our fears of dying alone while we are alive is really an indication of how we will die and how we will feel about that. The fear of dying alone is really speaking about this fear of being all alone in your transition. And when I think about it that way, it's like, what if there's a fear and an experience of actually having felt really alone in the biggest transitions of your life? Sometimes we put our fears onto something else that actually belong another place and another time. So what I'm curious about is, have you experienced a huge transition in your life? Like, we're talking like the top 3 transitions of your life, like maybe your birth, or another really powerful, pivotal time where you felt incredibly alone. You felt so alone that wired in you this deep fear of being alone even more. And from there, it gets put all wrapped up in a lot of momentum as you keep thinking about it, right? Because our habits become our traits, and our traits become our patterns, and our patterns become the way that we run our lives. And so if we've been alone during a huge transition and we haven't healed the aloneness, injury, or wound that goes along with that, our experience of dying, or our fears of dying, certainly to start with, may include a lot of fear of being alone. So what I'm curious about, much like the dryer lint screen example, where you take the lint off the dryer screen, put it back in, and watch the clothes dry a lot better, is this: if you address the huge loss, the transition losses, and you really face those with all of your heart, presence, wisdom, and soul, and you clear the injury and trauma that goes along with that, I would be really curious to see if you still had the same fear of dying alone. It's kind of like that dryer screen example. If you did, I'd be curious to hear more about that from you. But I have found that in 99% of cases, that when these big transition fear losses are addressed for what they really are, seen for what they need to be seen for, heard for what they need to be heard for, then what happens is that the fear of dying dissolves and goes away, because there's no more fear around the huge transition loss that you had, the huge grief that you had. So then dying becomes, the fear of dying alone becomes non-existent. So this is what I have practiced and seen. I don't have any fear of death. I don't have any fear of dying alone. I don't have a fear of losing my partner. And it's because I've had to and chosen to also really face these losses in my life in real time, and or certainly in healing time afterwards. So I'd love to support you in that. I'd love to hear more about what your thoughts are about that. You can feel free to let me know in the comments below or messenger me. And again, I'm wishing you all happy holidays and sending only my deepest love to you all and much appreciation. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.